Debbie Harry.
Deborah Ann Debbie Harry is an American singer-songwriter and actress best known for being the lead singer of the punk rock and new wave band Blondie. She has also had success as a solo artist, and in the mid-1990s she recorded and performed with the Jazz Passengers. Her acting career spans over 30 film roles and numerous television appearances.
Personal life and career beginnings.
Harry was born in Miami, Florida, and adopted by Catherine and Richard Smith Harry, gift shop proprietors in Hawthorne, New Jersey. She attended Hawthorne High School, where she graduated in 1963. She graduated from Centenary College in Hackettstown, New Jersey, with an Associate of Arts degree in 1965. Before starting her singing career she moved to New York City in the late 1960s and worked as a secretary at BBC Radio's office there for 1 year. Later, she was a waitress at Max's Kansas City, a go-go dancer in a Union City, New Jersey, discotheque, and a Playboy bunny. In the late 1960s, Deborah Harry began her musical career as a backing singer for the folk rock group, The Wind in the Willows, which released one self-titled album in 1968 on Capitol Records. The group also recorded a second album which was never released and the studio tapes remain lost to this day. In 1974, Harry then joined the Stilettos with Elder Gentile and Amanda Jones. Her eventual boyfriend and Blondie guitarist, Chris Stein, joined the band shortly after. After leaving the Stilettos, Harry and Stein formed Angel and the Snake with Tish and Snooky Bellomo. Shortly thereafter, Harry and Stein formed Blondie, naming it after the term of address men often called her when she bleached her hair blonde. Blondie quickly became regulars at Max's Kansas City and CBGB in New York City. After a debut album in 1976, commercial success followed in the late 1970s to the early 1980s, first in Australia and Europe, then in the United States. In 1989 and 2010 interviews, Harry claimed that she had been lured into a car driven by serial killer, Ted Bundy, while in New York during the early 1970s but said that she luckily escaped. While Harry has claimed to identify the driver as Bundy from TV news reports, the fact-checking website Snopes.com says the driver was probably not Bundy because there is no known record that Bundy was in New York at that time. Snopes noted that Ann Rule, an author of a book on Bundy, says false claims of Bundy abductions are not uncommon. While leading Blondie, Harry and Stein became life as well as musical partners, though they never married. Harry has no children. In the mid-1980s, she took a few years off to care for Stein while he suffered with pemphigus, a rare autoimmune disease that affects the skin and mucous membranes. Stein and Harry broke up in the 1980s, but continued to work together. In 1999, Harry was deemed the 12th greatest woman of rock and roll by VH1's 100 Greatest Women of Rock and Roll, and in 2002, she was called the 18th sexiest artist of all time by VH1's 100 Sexiest Artists. In 2014 interview Harry confirmed the rumors about having affairs with women.
Blondie.
With her distinctive photogenic features and two-tone bleached blonde hair, Harry quickly became a punk icon. Her look was further popularized by the band's early presence in the music video revolution of the era. She was a regular at Studio 54. In June 1979, Blondie was featured on the cover of Rolling Stone. Harry's persona, combining cool sexuality with streetwise style, became so closely associated with the group's name that many came to believe Blondie was the singer's name. The difference between the individual Harry and the band Blondie was famously highlighted with a Blondie as a group button campaign by the band in 1979. In 1981, Harry issued a press release to clarify that her name was not Debbie Blondie, or Debbie Harry, but Deborah Harry, though Harry later described her character in the band as being named Blondie, as in this quote from the No Exit Tour book. In 1976 and 1977, Blondie released their first two albums. The second experienced some marginal success outside the United States. However, 1978's Parallel Lines, UK No. 1, US number 6, shot the group to international success and included the global smash hit single Heart of Glass. Riding the crest of disco's domination, the infectious track hit number 1 in the US and sold nearly 2 million copies. The follow-up single One Way or Another reached number 24 on Billboard's Hot 100. The album was the band's biggest success. Although it has sold over 4 million copies in the United States alone, it has never been certified above the platinum level. It was also the biggest-selling album of 1979 in the United Kingdom. The release of the platinum-selling Eat to the Beat album, UK number 1, US number 17, in 1979 and Auto-American, UK number 3, US number 7, in 1980 continued the band's run of hits, including Dreaming, Atomic, and 3 more US number 1 singles, The Tide is High, Rapture, and Call Me from the soundtrack to the film American Gigolo, which became Billboard's number 1 song of 1980. After a year-long hiatus in 1981, during which Harry released her first solo album, See Below, Blondie regrouped and released their 6th studio album The Hunter, UK number 9, US number 33. The album met with a disastrous reception, peaking at number 33 in the US and falling rapidly off the charts. The single Island of Lost Souls briefly cracked the US top 40 though narrowly missed the top 10 in the UK, where the album had been a top 10 entry but sold far less than their previous albums. Blondie launched a worldwide tour to support the release, but it was cut short due to slow ticket sales. Stein also fell seriously ill with the rare autoimmune disease, pemphigus. Coupled with declining record sales and internal struggles, the band split up. Later in the 1980s, the remix album Once More Into the Bleach was released, featuring remixes of tracks by Blondie and from Harry's solo career. The mid-1990s saw the release of further Blondie remix albums Beautiful in Europe and Remixed Remade Remodeled in the US. New mixes of Heart of Glass, Atomic, and Union City Blue were released as singles and all made the UK top 40, while remixes of Atomic, Rapture, and Heart of Glass had major success on the US dance charts. In 1997, Blondie began working together again for the first time in 15 years. 2 tracks were recorded with TV Mania, the production trio of 2 Duran Duran members, Nick Rhodes and Warren Cucurullo, and producer Anthony J. Rester. Studio 54 Inches and Pop Trash Movie was scheduled for release on a Blondie compilation, entitled This Is Blondie. However, the project and the tracks were shelved as the 4 original members, Harry, Stein, Klemberg and Jimmy Destry, embarked on sessions for what would become Blondie's 7th studio album. During this period, they released a cover of Iggy Pop's Ordinary Bummer on the tribute album We Will Fall, 1997. After a final tour of Europe with the Jazz Passengers in the summer of 1998, Deborah Harry resumed duties as lead vocalist of Blondie. Prior to the release of No Exit, the band completed a sold-out tour of Europe. Dates at London's Lyceum Theatre were recorded by the BBC and aired on national BBC Radio 1. A week before the release of No Exit, the lead single Maria debuted at number 1 in the UK, giving Blondie their 6th UK number 1 hit. Maria also reached number 1 in 14 different countries, the top 10 on the US dance charts and top 15 on the US adult top 40 charts. No Exit debuted at number 3 in the UK and number 17 in the US, and Blondie announced dates for a major arena tour that summer, during which they played the Glastonbury Festival and Party in the Park in London. Nothing Is Real But the Girl was another UK top 30 hit, while the title track was released as a limited edition single to coincide with further arena dates in November of that year. Tracks culled from dates throughout the 1999 World Tour were released as a live album, titled Live in the US and Live It in the UK, and were released in late 1999 and early 2000, respectively. A Blondie live companion DVD was also released, recorded at a show in New York City's The Town Hall. Although Blondie commenced recording tracks for the follow-up to No Exit in 2001, the sessions were dogged with problems including the loss of master tapes after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. In the winter of 2002, Blondie returned with a full-scale UK tour. This preceded the release of a new single in 2003 entitled Good Boys, a hit across the UK and Europe that autumn, and top 10 on the US dance charts the following spring, and the release of Blondie's 8th studio album, The Curse of Blondie. The band toured throughout 2003 and 2004, completing 2 further full-scale tours of the UK. A second live album, entitled Live by Request, was released in 2005, along with a companion DVD set. In that year, the band also released the mashup Rapture Riders, which combined their 1981 hit Rapture with the Doors' Riders on the Storm. This track was taken from a greatest hits compilation entitled Sound and Vision, first issued in the UK as Sight Plus Sound, released with a companion DVD and new mixes of In the Flesh, and Good Boys. In the winter of 2005, Blondie toured the UK for the 4th time in as many years. In 2006, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Around this time, Blondie released a new studio track, a cover of Roxy Music's 1982 hit More Than This. This was to promote their Road Rage tour and the single was made available for free download. At the end of 2006, a new mix of Heart of Glass became a club hit in Europe, while Harry released the single New York, New York, a collaboration with Moby. The song debuted on YouTube, some 4 weeks before its official release. In the summer of 2007, Blondie toured in the UK once again. Around this time, Harry delineated the different personae, Blondie the band, her role in the band, and Deborah Harry the singer, to an interviewer who asked why she played only solo music on the 2007 True Colours tour. "I've put together a new trio with no Blondie members in it. I really want to make a clear definition between Debbie's solo projects and Blondie, and I hope that the audience can appreciate that and also appreciate this other material." On July 3, 2008, Blondie commenced a world tour to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Parallel Lines with a sellout concert at the Amphitheatre in Ra'anana, Israel. During the tour, drummer Clem Burke stated that the tour had inspired the band to make another record, Panic of Girls, their first new album since the release of The Curse of Blondie in 2003. Also in 2008, Blondie's music was featured in the young adult novel, Debbie Harry Sings in French, by Megan Brothers, which received awards from the American Library Association and the New York Public Library. In 2009, Blondie joined Pat Benatar for the Call Me Invincible tour. The majority of the shows were opened by the Donnas. In December 2009, Blondie recorded their version of the traditional song We Three Kings to coincide with the band's new album. In the summer of 2010, Blondie began a UK and Ireland tour, including venues in Newcastle, Manchester, Sheffield and Dublin. They also played festivals including the Isle of Wight and Rockness Festival in Inverness, Scotland. Tracks from their forthcoming album Panic of Girls were performed during their tour of the UK, notably D-Day and What I Heard. The album was released first in July 2011 in the United Kingdom, with Germany, USA and Japan following. As a marketing innovation, the band made a lot of special editions with different bonus tracks and added content, such as extra CDs and magazines. It received good reviews from the press and spotted #1 in Amazon. Mother was the first single, accompanied by a video, and What I Heard was the second. Blondie's 10th album, Ghosts of Download, is set for release in January 2014.
Solo career.
Harry has released 5 solo albums. She began her solo career in 1981 with Cuckoo. Produced by Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards of Chic, the album peaked at number 28 in the US and number 6 in the UK. It was later certified gold in the US and silver in the UK. The album's cover art was controversial and many stores refused to stock it. Backfired, the first single from the album, had a video directed by H. Giga, who also created the album's front cover featuring Harry's face with metal skewers through it. The single reached number 43 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 29 on the Hot Dance Club Songs and number 32 on the UK Singles Chart. The Jam Was Moving was lifted as the second single and peaked at number 82 in the US. After Blondie split up in 1982, Harry's solo output slowed down as she cared for ailing partner Chris Stein. She released the single Rush Rush in 1983, produced by Giorgio Moroder and taken from the film Scarface, but this was unsuccessful. A new single, Feel the Spin, taken from the film Crush Groove, was released as a limited 12 single in 1985, but again was unsuccessful. In 1986, Harry released her second solo album called Rockbird, which peaked at number 97 in the US and number 31 in the UK, where it has been certified gold for 100,000 sales by the BPI. The single French Kissin' in the USA gave Harry her only UK solo top 10 hit, No. 8, and became a moderate US hit, No. 57. Other singles released from the album were Free to Fall, and In Love with Love, which hit number 1 on the US dance charts and was released with several remixes. Her next solo venture was the album Deaf, Dumb and Blonde in 1989. At this point Harry reverted from Debbie to Deborah as her professional name. The first single I Want That Man was a hit in Europe, Australia, and on the US modern rock charts. The success of the single propelled the album to number 12 on the UK chart where it earned a silver disc. However, with little promotion from her record company in the US, it peaked at number 123. She followed this up with the ballad Bright Side, and the club hit Sweet and Low. Maybe for Sure, a track originally recorded by Blondie for the Rock and Roll animated film, was the fourth single released from the album in June 1990 to coincide with a UK tour, her second in 6 months. Kiss It Better was also a top 15 modern rock single in the US. From 1989 to 1991, Harry toured extensively across the world with former Blondie guitarist Chris Stein, Underworld's Carl Hyde, and future Blondie bassist Lee Foggs. In July 1991, she played Wembley Stadium supporting INXS. In 1991, Chrysalis released a new best of compilation in Europe entitled The Complete Picture, The Very Best of Deborah, Harry and Blondie, containing hits with Blondie as well as solo hits. The collection reached number 3 in the UK album chart and earned a gold disc. The album also included her duet with Iggy Pop on the Cole Porter song Well, Did You Ever? From the Red Hot Plus Blue AIDS charity album produced by the Red Hot organization and released at the end of 1990. Harry's fourth solo album, Deprivation, appeared in July 1993. The album's first single was I Can See Clearly, which peaked at number 23 in the UK and number 2 on the US dance charts. This was followed by Strike Me Pink in September. Controversy surrounded the latter track's promotional video, which featured a man drowning in a water tank, resulting in it being banned. US editions of the album feature 2 additional tracks recorded with pre-recorded music by R.E.M. Teardrops, and My Last Date, With You, a remake of a 1961 Skeeter Davis hit. In November 1993, Harry toured the UK with Stein, guitarist Peter Min, bassist Greta Brinkman and drummer James Murphy. The setlist of the Deprivation tour featured an offbeat selection of Harry material including the previously unreleased track Close Your Eyes, from 1989, and Ordinary Bummer, from the Stein-produced Iggy Pop album Zombie Birdhouse. A track that, under the moniker Adolf's Dog, Blondie covered in 1997. Tentative plans to record these shows and release them as a double live CD never came to fruition. However, a cover of the Rolling Stones' Wild Horses is available as a bootleg. At the end of 1993, Chrysalis released the Blondie Rarities collection Blonde and Beyond, which featured the previously unreleased tracks Scenery, and Underground Girl. In early 1994, Harry took the Deprivation tour to the US. In the UK, Harry's long tenure with Chrysalis Records also came to an end after lackluster sales of Deprivation, but the label released all of Blondie's albums and Harry's Cuckoo album, for the first time on CD, as remastered editions with bonus tracks. As Blondie had reconvened in the late 1990s, it was several years before Harry resumed her solo career. In 2006, Harry started work in New York City on tracks for her fifth solo album Necessary Evil, 2007. Working with production duo Super Buddha, who produced the remix of Blondie's In the Flesh for the 2005 Sound and Vision compilation, the first music to surface and was a hip-hop track entitled Dirty and Deep, in which she spoke out against rapper Lil' Kim's incarceration. Throughout 2006, a number of new tracks surfaced on Harry's MySpace page, including Charm Alarm, Deep End, Love with a Vengeance, School for Scandal, and Necessary Evil, as well as duets she recorded with Miss Guy, of Toilet Boys fame. These were God Save New York, and New York Groove. A streaming version of the lead single, 2 Times Blue, was added to Harry's MySpace page in May 2007. On June 6, 2007, an iTunes downloadable version was released via her official website. Harry joined Cyndi Lauper's True Colors tour for the Human Rights Campaign. She is a strong advocate for gay rights and same-sex marriage. Though she has stated that she identifies as mostly heterosexual, Harry has said she has had intimate relationships with both men and women. Harry's fifth solo album, Necessary Evil, was released in 2007 on 11/7 Music after Harry completed both a solo tour of the US in June 2007 and a European tour with Blondie in July 2007. The first single, 2 Times Blue, peaked at number 5 on the US Dance Club Play chart. The album peaked at number 86 in the UK and number 37 in the US Billboard Top Independent Albums chart. To promote the album, Harry appeared on various talk shows to perform 2 Times Blue. She also started a 22-date US tour on November 8, lasting until December 9, playing small venues and clubs across the country. On January 18, 2008, an official music video for If I Had You was released.
Other musical projects.
While recording her fourth album in 1992, Harry collaborated with German heavy metal band Die Hard on the track Don't Cross My Mind, and released the song Prelude to a Kiss on the soundtrack to the film of the same name. She also released a cover of Summertime Blues from the soundtrack to the film That Night in Australia. In the mid-1990s, Harry teamed up with New York avant-garde jazz ensemble The Jazz Passengers. Between 1994 and 1998 she was a permanent member of the troupe, touring North America and Europe. She was a featured vocalist on their 1994 album In Love, singing the track Dog in Sand. The follow-up album, 1997's Individually Twisted, is credited as The Jazz Passengers featuring Deborah Ann, and Harry sings vocals throughout, teaming up with guest Elvis Costello for a cover of Don't You Go Away Mad. The album also features a re-recorded version of the song The Tide is High. A live album entitled Live in Spain, again featuring Harry on vocals, was released in 1998. Harry collaborated on a number of other projects with other artists. She featured as vocalist on Talking Heads' side project The Heads' 1996 release No Talking, Just Head, performing the title track and Punk Later. She also sings on a cover of Strawberry Fields Forever, and on the song Estrella de Mar by Argentine band Los Fabulosos Cadillacs. In 1997 she collaborated with jazz passenger Bill Ware in his side project Groove Thing, singing lead vocals on the club hit Command and Obey. Another JP collaboration appeared on the Edgar Allan Poe tribute album Closed on Account of Rabies, 1997. Harry also reunited with Blondie keyboardist Jimmy Distry for a cover of Otis Blackwell's Don't Be Cruel for the 1995 tribute album Brace Yourself. During this period, she also recorded a duet with Robert Jackson titled Der einzige Weg, The Only Way, theme from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was recorded in German and in English, although these did not surface until 1999. Harry appears on the 2001 Bill Ware album Vibes 4 singing the track Me and You, as well as on ex-Police guitarist Andy Summers' album Peggy's Blue Skylight on the track Weird Nightmare. A techno cover of Stan Jones' Ghost Riders in the Sky was featured on the soundtrack to the film, Three Businessmen, and was available on her website to download. Harry sings on 2 tracks on Andrea Griminelli's Cinema Italiano project, You'll Come to Me, inspired by Amarchord's main theme, and When Love Comes By, from Il Postino, as well as on a tribute album reinterpreting the music of Harold Arlen, on which she sings the title track Stormy Weather. In May 2002, She accompanied the Jazz Passengers and the BBC Concert Orchestra in a performance of her jazz material at the Barbican Centre in London. In 2003, she was featured vocalist on the song Uncontrollable Love by Electroclash dance producers Blow Up. She also sang on the version of Waltzing Matilda recorded by Dan Zanes and Friends, released on the 2003 album House Party. Harry also contributed to Fall Out Boy's 2008 album Folie à Deux. She sings on the chorus of the album's Closer West Coast Smoker. Harry is a credited co-writer on a song called Super Sensual that appears on Australian singer Natalie Bassingthwaite's debut album 1000 Stars. The song samples the recognisable woo-woo-oh refrain from Heart of Glass and in duet with the French singer Etienne Daho on Les Chansons de l'Innocence Retrouve, 2013.
Discography.
Studio albums. 1981, Cuckoo, 1986, Rockbird, 1989, Deaf, Dumb and Blonde, 1993, Deprivation, 2007, Necessary Evil. Compilations and other releases. 1988, Once More Into the Bleach, Debbie Harry and Blondie, 1991, The Complete Picture, The Very Best of Deborah Harry and Blondie, Deborah Harry and Blondie, 1998, Deborah Harry Collection, 1999, Most of All, The Best of Deborah Harry, 2004, French Kiss in the Collection.
Philanthropy.
In a recent interview, Harry stated that after witnessing Elton John and his tireless efforts against HIV/AIDS, she has been inspired to put philanthropy as her top priority. These things are important in my life now. I have the privilege of being able to get involved, so I do. I applaud people like Elton John, who have used their position to do so much good. I could really feel his power and see how effective it was in helping to highlight causes like HIV/AIDS, and I thought I should get up off my fat ass and do something too. Some of Harry's charities include those devoted to fighting cancer and endometriosis.
Bibliography.
Mick Rock, with foreword by Debbie Harry, 2011, Debbie Harry and Blondie, Picture This, Palazzo Editions. ISBN 0956494200-X.